Husband confesses one-night stand 8 years ago. My husband and I have been married 10 years. We have 3 amazing kids. We had a rough start to our marriage. I had left while pregnant with our first daughter due to constant fighting and being mentally exhausted. He came to me 2 weeks before the birth. Then 3 months after her birth he left for a job. I followed him later, hoping to save our marriage. Fast forward a year and a half later. I had miscarriage and was struggling to recover from that. 2 months later I discovered he would stay out to crazy hours getting drunk after work, and then he grew crazy attached to his phone. One night I got a hold of it and found message to multiple women whom he was having emotional affairs with. I asked if anything else had ever happened. He assured me no. So I stayed. He quit drinking to get drunk and it seemed like he changed. I would find out about drunk incidents with his friends from time to time, but it was never when I was around. Now we are in the present and 2 more kids later. I notice him attached to his phone again. Literally sleeping with it. Once again I find that he has an emotional relationship with another woman. One of the same women as the first time. I am devastated. I confront him, and then he reveals he actually did have a one-night stand during all the drunken nights back then. I felt my heart get ripped out of my chest. For the life of me I can't figure out why he is telling me now. But I also am angry cause he robbed me of that decision of how to handle it then. He let me continue our lives. I feel so disrespected. I just cry myself to sleep most nights. I am at the crossroads of what to do, and I hate conflict. It's been 3 weeks since he told me. He has been doing everything under the sun to prove he is changing. He plays worship music all the time, he fixed everything in the house that has needed fixing for months. But it's the bare minimum in my mind. Honestly, it makes me angrier seeing him do these things now. Seeing him doing things he could have done for the past 10 years. I feel like I am getting love bombed. How can I continue this relationship? Can trust even be rebuilt at this point? I just feel like I lose no matter what. Is it even a relationship that worth saving at this point? Comment. Personally, I don't think so. If he had confessed to the 8-year-old one-night stand and nothing else had been happening, that would be one thing. It would still be incredibly shitty of him to keep this from you for 8 years, but at least it would be a positive thing and you'd know he had changed. But he hasn't changed, he's doing the same shit most of a decade later. He's proven that he can lie and he can do the same thing in the present. That makes it impossible to trust him. Why would you want to continue a relationship with someone who has shown themselves, repeatedly, to be a disrespectful a-hole? My guess is that somewhere in the text conversation with this woman or another, there is mention of sex, so he is trying to get ahead of it and claim that it was only a one-night stand. I wouldn't buy that if it was water and I was on fire. If you continue this relationship, I'd seek therapy so that you can figure out how to deal with having an open relationship. If you stay with him, you're handing him permission to cheat. He only told you one physical encounter. There's more. Keep looking. You already found some on your own and hopefully saved the evidence. Not only is there more, but there is more to come. He's been cheating your whole relationship and he's not going to stop just distract you. Privately see a lawyer. Should have added this in my other comment, but don't be too hard on yourself. Leaving is hard. Change is hard. Embracing discomfort is hard. You've had more than just yourself to think about since he showed you his character. People can be charming and convince you of things. You are worthy of true love, and making yourself feel bad for this will not help you find that. Quietly get your affairs in order, ask for couples counseling in the meantime, then leave him. He has disrespected you more than once, and when people show you who they are the first time, believe them. If it was really a one-time mistake, he'd have owned it immediately and gone through extensive therapy to work on himself and his adultery. There's a possibility couples counseling and individual therapy works, and that he makes meaningful changes. However, it's likely he has no desire to actually self-improve, and you need a backup plan in case the time comes that you have to walk away. Kids are smart. They pick up on a lot, and modeling this dynamic will affect them long-term. If his behavior continues, and you can't leave for yourself, leave for them. Story 2. My wife's severe mental illness makes me feel like I'm a prisoner in my own home. My wife suffers from a laundry list of mental illnesses, chief among them being bipolar disorder with psychotic features. I have my own issues with anxiety and depression myself, so the overall mood in our house is rarely a pleasant one. I constantly feel on edge, walking on eggshells to avoid arguments, as she can be emotionally volatile and fly off the rails with little to no warning. I rarely feel like I get my own moments of vulnerability, due to the fact that we're always dealing with her own inner demons. She takes at least a dozen pills a day to stabilize things. During a recent manic phase, she secretly stopped taking her meds after convincing herself that she no longer needed them. As you're probably already guessing, things went horribly wrong. Last night, I was at band practice. It's honestly the only real coping mechanism I have. She called and texted me repeatedly, threatening suicide, accusing me of not caring about her, ridiculing my hobbies and threatening to leave and go to her mom's house. Her mom died in 2020. When I got home, I found out that she had gone driving, and took several Ativan. She was acting very strangely and oddly calm when I talked to her. I stayed up all night on edge, no way I was going to be able to sleep after that. Today, she's been wandering around the house mumbling to herself. I tried to speak with her and she acted like I didn't exist. When she finally did talk to me, she said something about seeing the dark man with glowing evil eyes. She refuses to go to the hospital. Her therapist even told me on the phone to avoid the hospital and make sure she takes her meds. Meanwhile, I'm stuck at home with someone that looks at me with pure hate in her eyes and tells me I'm a terrible husband. Sometimes, a small part of me snaps awake and the only thought I can muster is get out, but I never do. If I had a friend going through this, I'd beg them to leave. I'm in my house with my wife, forced to carry a massive burden I am untrained and qualified for, and I feel completely alone. I don't know why I'm posting this here. I guess it's because I can't really be honest with the people I love. Comment. As someone who's bipolar myself, but continuously medicated / in regular therapy, and has also had to live with a bipolar person, my mother, who was untreated, please save yourself. I had to leave home at 15 just to find some sort of semblance of safety. Crashing with friends was much better than her screaming at my walls all night / acting generally scary. I told her to get help or I wasn't coming back. Unfortunately, as a minor I was eventually forced to go back home despite her never getting treatment, but you are at least an adult and can't be legally forced to live with her. If she won't get help, she will only drag you down with her, or worse, harm if not kill you. Please keep yourself safe. I wish you all the best. And those are the same people who would say, why didn't he leave? You have to save yourself. She could snap at any moment. Then you are hurt, or worse, and she may get sent to a facility for mentally ill criminals. It's okay to choose yourself. I'm not necessarily saying she will intend to harm you, but her actions are not safe and could easily lead to your harm, or at least someone else's. The driving on Ativan shit is beyond scary. She absolutely could have killed someone. Trust me, I was made out to be the villain by a number of people too. Yes, as an abused teenager, I was the bad guy for not being more empathetic or some such BS. Let them judge away. I know it's easier said than done, but you will need to do what you can to seek out support systems who will understand. My family was mostly useless, but I had good friends, teachers, and counselors at school who did what they could to help. Now that I'm in my 30s, I have my husband, in-laws, and medical professionals. You can do this. Don't let people's misguided judgments stop you from prioritizing your own well-being, please. Well up, whoever claims you are a villain should step up to take care of her. How dare anybody judge your personal circumstances and choices? No sane parent or friend would want you to sacrifice your own sanity, safety, and well-being for the sake of anyone. This is beyond what you can possibly handle. Please save yourself. Hey, I worked in case management for years and dealt with many individuals who suffered from the same feelings your spouse has. It is something she will live with for the rest of her life. There is no recovery or step to stop taking meds and being healed. For many people that's difficult to accept, understandably. And it takes constant care and building a toolbox to help deal with episodes and intense mood swings. And while you stay to keep helping, there are others ways you can help and take a step back to heal yourself. It is hard to pour into someone else's cup when yours is empty. You can make a plan with friends and family about taking time apart and discuss how you can self-heal and still be supportive. Just a thought, my dude. Take time to journal, write out your feelings, go on walks and self-reflect without being critical or self-negative. But most importantly, be safe. I know you said you feel she would not hurt you physically. But you must remember her state of mind is not clear or rational, and small things may turn into bigger things. Yeah, my nan's bipolar and like your wife and less severely medicated, When medicated and okay, she is the sweetest woman alive who worries when someone hasn't eaten 3 full meals and a dozen different snacks. Unmedicated, she's quite capable of believing my granddad, for example, was the devil in disguise who was trying to trick her and she had to stop him with a knife. The psychological aspect is adding up for her also. It built up for Andrea Yates too, and she ended up killing her kids. She needs immediate, professional help. Looks like you've tried what you can and now you're reaching a pivotal point. If you don't have kids, good. But if you do, take them with you and maybe call the police station to say she needs a welfare check. Let them handle it. But genuinely, if it's just you and she's not willing to help herself, it's time to leave. For your safety, physical and mental.